So today, we're going to talk about Asians today. And I'm ready. First one. And the title that I'm giving this class is Teach Your Children Mandarin. You know, parents here in the U.S., people, it's like be part of the Schreier Honors College and get high grades and, I don't know, be the president of your sorority or fraternity or be a chair or a captain or something in Thon or, I don't know, build your Vita up, right? You don't have to do any of that. You just got to learn Mandarin. If you want to be successful and make a lot of money and that sort of thing, just learn Mandarin. Now, that's a challenge in and of itself. But if you start now and you work real hard, you can go pretty far. Asia, here are all the countries. So we talk about Asia, Pacific, Asian, Pacific Islanders. There are lots of ways to talk about it. When we talk about the subcontinent, we're talking about India. It doesn't generally include Sri Lanka. But here at the Pacific Islands, there are lots and lots of Pacific Islands out here, many of which won't exist in another 20 years because of global climate change. But we talk about kind of East Asia we generally are talking about China, but really only kind of half of China, right? And China's a massive place with many ethnicities and many languages. It's just that Mandarin is the primary language, Cantonese is second, and then after that there are lots of other languages. So the subcontinent, and then, of course, the Near East. And then we're talking about kind of the Middle East all in here, okay? Cool, so this is everything we're talking about. So you understand that when I make a statement, today we're going to talk about Asians, think about where your mind goes, and then think about this is all Asia right here. It's like, who are we talking about? There's 1 billion people in India. I could say we're going to talk about Asians, and we do nothing but talk about Indians. You got 1 billion Indians. There are 3 times as many Indians in the world as there are North Americans or U.S. citizens. So I almost said Americans, but you can't really say Americans because America also includes Latin America, South America, Central America. So we don't have a word, we don't have an adjective in English. In Spanish, you say for an American citizen, you say estadounidense. That means United Statesian. But that doesn't exist in English, and so we just say Americans. But Canadians are Americans, and Canadians are North Americans, and Mexicans are North Americans, right? So you see, this gets really complex. But this is all Asia right here, okay? So this woman, right, she's Asian. So she's from Malaysia. She's from the Senang tribe in Asia, okay? Got it? So here's these guys here, they're from New Guinea. They're Asian. So if they were walking down the street and someone said, hey, look at that Asian guy, nobody would think he's Asian. So it's like it gets really, so it's like I'm just giving you all this, not as data just to fill your brain with this, but just to think a little bit, expand it out a little bit. Okay, cool? By the way, he's Asian. That's Rithik, man. Dude, exactly, right? All the straight women and all the gay men are going like, oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't even think my wife would mind. If I ask her next Tuesday about it, if I was like, ended up with Rithik Roshan one night, she'd probably be, all right, dude, all right, I'll give you that one, all right? Anyway, he's Asian, right? He's Indian. He's a kind of celebrity, an actor in India, right? So what I want to talk about right now is just briefly, and then we're going to do a bunch of activities today, just ethnocentrism. In ethnocentrism, here, follow this. Hang on. Get your heads out of your... By the way, you shouldn't have your computer open right there, by the way. You got to be down here in the front. And here's what you want to say, okay, with ethnocentrism. ethnocentrism is seeing the world from one particular perspective and not multiple perspectives. So it's like it's as if I only see this class from here, only from here, but I don't also see it from, let's say, this perspective right here, where I'm one of you. Like, I don't know what's going on in this class if I'm only looking at it from one perspective. Or I don't know what's going on at Penn State University. I can't speak on behalf of Penn State University if I don't talk to faculty, administrators, alumni, students from all different backgrounds, right? How do I know the Penn State student body if I don't what are students like at Penn State? Well, what if I don't talk to people from many different backgrounds? So this idea that we generally are socialized within a particular culture, within a particular way of being, and we kind of put those glasses on of that culture, and then we see the world that way without also seeing it from lots of other perspectives. And then ethnocentrism happens when we start to think that our way is the right way, is the best way, is there's something kind of weird about all those other ways. Like, for example, in the U.S., we use toilet paper. And I don't know if you think about the fact that, you sit down on a toilet and you get this dry toilet paper and then you smear poop all over your rear end. And then it's all, how many of you all got poop on your rear ends because you took a dump today and you didn't shower afterwards? Okay, and so now, and then you take the toilet paper and you throw it away. Or you can use you can have a toilet that has a little hose on it, which you see in many parts of the world, and you sit down and you do your daily squat, and then you turn the water on and you hose yourself off. It's like, and then, Americans oftentimes, or people in the West, will see that and say, that's really odd. Like, how would you use why would you use toilet paper to clean your rear end? I mean, it makes no sense. So it's something like that, where you sit down on this toilet and you go, damn, hey, this is a really, your first inclination is to say, well, if billions of people are doing this, there must be something really good and positive and cool about it. Let me try. And then you try those, of course, the peak of the experience are the Japanese toilets. But I won't talk about that. So... Japanese are so far out in front, man. Anyone know what I'm talking about? Japanese toilets? You just push a button. You're just sitting there and you're just doing your squat. And you're done. I'll have to demonstrate. It's a little high, and then you just push a little button, and suddenly you start feeling water going all over your undersides, and you're like, whoa, warm water, by the way. And then it goes back, and then maybe it comes again with a little soap, and then it rinses you, and you're just sitting there, and this whole thing's happening. And then you feel these puffs of air. Going, oh my God, it's going to dry me off. This is amazing. And the first time I had that experience in Tokyo, I just got up, pulled my pants up and left the bathroom, and then I went, oh no, hang on, I got to try that again. and then just hit the buttons again. And then, feeling the seats warm, right? I mean, like, oh my God, Japanese, they got it all over us, man. Okay, so ethnocentrism simply happens when we start to think that our way of being in the world or doing things or whatever is the best way. Now, you can't get around that. Everyone is going to be ethnocentric to some degree because you're socialized like I am. I mean, as much as I travel and as much as I do things and as much as I connect to people around the world in lots and lots of different ways, there are plenty of times when I just will still think, oh, that's kind of weird. And then I stop and I think about it and I put myself over here and I really look at it and why someone's doing what they're doing. Then invariably I come to the place of like, no, actually that's kind of understandable. It makes a lot of sense. So the best way to break through ethnocentrism clearly is to leave one's own country or talk to other people who are visitors, and they'll start pointing out things about one's own country that seems kind of odd. Like for us, one is gun control. People just cannot wrap their thoughts around how it is that we have so many guns in the U.S. And Second Amendment people, I'm not making a statement one way or the other. I am just telling you that the vast majority of the world looks at us and just thinks we're out of our damn minds. And whether we are or not, that's neither here nor there. But we just have this fascination, this thing with guns. And so that's just kind of part of what it is. And they don't seem to be going away. So I want to walk into the world of ethnocentrism. So here, I got one for you. You ready? Just turn to the person next to you. Tell them your answer. Yo, Asian Hulk, you better get this one, pal. Does he have the answer? All right, listen, man. Listen. So I'm not even going to ask how many said this, that, or the other thing, but the answer is soju. By far and away soju. And if you don't know what soju is, it just says something about the world. I mean, here we are at a party school, a drinking school. I mean, okay, we're not really. You know, there's a fair amount of partying that goes on at a place like Penn State. Soju is really inexpensive. I would imagine you all would all know what it is. It's a drink that really originated in Korea. Here, spirits. You know spirits, like liquors and hard liquor, right? Spirits. Of all the brand name spirits in the world, of all the brand name spirits, of rum and whiskey, like Jack Daniels and, Ronrico rum and so on and so forth, right? Of all the brand names of spirits in the world, and there are many hundreds and actually many thousands, but of those that are pretty significant and many people would know, probably in the hundreds, okay? Of all the brands of spirits. If we rank order them in terms of those that sell more than any other brands of spirit, the first and the third are brands of soju. That shows you how much soju people are consuming in the world. And most Americans have no idea what it is. And so you got whole half of the world is imbibing in this alcoholic beverage, and you got all these people on the other side of the world just have no idea what it's all about. So that's not a problem. That's not like, oh, you should know that at all. It's actually better that you don't, because it just reduces your risk maybe of alcoholism or something. I have no idea. It's probably a bad idea for college students in the U.S. to discover soju. But I will say, nonetheless, it just says something about how much we know about different places in the world. Which country has the greatest number of internet users? Anybody know? Dude, what do you think? What do you think? U.S.? Dude, what do you think? China, U.S., what do you think? Korea. What do you think? Japan? What do you think? China? Listen, man, it's China. So you've got, here, I'll give you the exact numbers in a second because I just wrote them down right before class. About 730 million Chinese are connected to the internet. Second is India, about 470 million Indians connected to the internet. And third is the U.S., about 290 million people in the U.S. connected to the internet, which includes little kids, of course, right? because 290 million is a lot of people. And dude, 92, here's just one for you, just talking about this, 92% of Korea is connected to the web. 86% of the United States is connected to the web. And so, the world is an immensely complex place, and that's what we're going to talk about today, okay? I really want to open our eyes to some things in particular, because, y'all, the future of the world, the next 10, 20 years, as most of you all in here are really coming into your own, the next 10 to 20 years, the world is going to continue to experience a radical transformation, unless we somehow blow it up. But if we don't blow it up, a radical, radical transformation. The world, unless your Penn State advisor, career advisor, or the career center, or your parents, or your uncle Neil, or Carlos, who's like the know-it-all and the brainchild of the family, or whatever it is, unless they're talking about the radical transformation that the entire global market is going to continue to go through, if they're not talking about that, they are looking backwards. They might as well just have gone back 15 years or 20 years into the past. The world of today, the world of 20 years ago is not the world of today. The world of today will not be the world of 20 years from now. And if you're not thinking about that, you run the risk of really getting lost, because